There is a thin divide between what is perceived as spiritual and paranormal, for they are forever entwined throughout time. Traveling within the history of the world, we can find examples of spirituality that involves everything from magic, spirits, gods and goddesses, and seers, or people said to be able to talk to the dead. We all have our belief systems and we all have our own truths. So come sit with Holly Jenkins and myself as we talk about all that and more. Welcome to Spiritually Paranormal.
Hey, we're back.
She's going to be the ball of energy. I'm going to be the
Poor Bear. Bear's still feeling a bit sickly, and I got news for you. It's going to last a couple more weeks at least before you feel any kind of normal.
Well, a couple of my friends also, and you had it as well. You had COVID, and everybody I know that has gotten whatever this is going around. It's a
mystery disease. Nobody knows. The doctors don't know what it is.
They just look at us, and we've had everything from a sinus infection to, oh, well, it's a cold or whatever, or, oh, it's RSV. Well, I worked in ICU long enough.
It's not RSV, yeah. No.
It's this packed head cold and
a deep congestion.
Deep. Wood. Nope, the congestion's all here. I got nothing in my lungs.
Well, hopefully you won't.
Throat. So, and I'm not. They told me, maybe you should call the doc and get some antibiotics. And I said, no. I said, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. Rest, a lot of fluid, a lot of hot tea. And then I did do what you had said about the onion and the garlic.
Yes.
But like yesterday I did a stream and I felt a little bit better, but it took quite a bit. And then actually when I started doing it, I just said to Spirit, I said, if I'm supposed to do this, you're going to have to like inject me with some energy and clear my head. And it was like not even 2 minutes later, it was a Zoom. And I was like, okay, well, can I stay like this? No. As soon as I was done, it was over. And I have no appetite whatsoever.
Yep.
I have been eating little, like making soup and just little stuff. But it's not good. And kids all had it, and you got it. And they keep saying it's long haul COVID. Thank you. It's the gift that keeps giving. And, although they blame everything on COVID, but yeah, it's a lot. And then I got up this morning, beautiful day, 48 degrees outside. The sun was shining. And as you can see, it's very dark in my house right now because it's pouring rain. So it's like, oh my God. So yeah. So that's what and then I'll tell you in a little while, a little bit more what I've been having go on. So you're next. What do you do?
Well, I just finished a new book, Little Crow's Magical Herb Garden. Oh, it's just so cute. It's about what? What'd you say?
Overachiever, slacker, God knows. Let's do another book. Bear, why are you sitting on your butt? I don't know.
Well, the one I'm working on right now is currently about 255 pages. This next one is big. Little Crow's Magical Herb Garden is like 32 pages or something like that. He learns how to grow herbs because his grandmother has this beautiful garden and he just absolutely loves it. So he goes to his grandmother and asks her, can he have his own garden? And she teaches him all about the herbs and everything. And there's 7 herbs that he chooses to grow. And I teach everyone the medicinal purposes and magical properties of the herbs.
Now, you picked 7 because?
Well, 7 is one of those magical numbers. And everything I do, I put a whole lot of intent and meaning behind how many pages it is, how many characters there are, or in this case, how many herbs there were. And in the next one, the one that's 250 pages, it's because there's 111 somethings in it. 111. 111.
Another book.
Yeah, I'm working out. I'm about halfway, maybe ish, through it.
Between you and another friend of mine that has been putting 1 to 2 paintings out a day.
I used to be that person.
Yeah, well, she's like normally on the road everywhere, so
Yeah.
for her to have it, she actually, I don't remember if she had got contracted COVID, but she had the same type thing, this respiratory thing. So she's been locked up at home, and I just look at between you and her, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like a slacker because I'm not getting anything
Well,
done.
no, you're sick and you just got to do you. You got to work at your own pace. I just did a TikTok video about why people don't do their own video content on any social media, not just TikTok, but any social media. And the number one reason is people hate the sound of their own voice. I get it. I
I
get it.
talk
Back
to
in the
myself all day, so
right, but when I was younger and if I heard a recording of myself, I'd be like, "Oh no, that's not me. That can't be my voice," because it does sound different than how it sounds in your head. But you got to let that go. And then the second reason is they don't like the way they look on camera. Well, we've got filters for that now, people. We don't have to worry about that so much.
is what it is.
Right.
I just
Right.
don't care.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying
I've got videos where I have zero makeup on, where I've just stepped out of the shower. I mean, my hair's not done, no makeup. I mean, just be you. And then the third top reason is they don't think that what they know or that their journey matters. They don't feel like they have anything to say. But all of our journeys matter. They all matter. We've all had our own experiences. We have our own knowledge and information. And like it does matter. So share it. Don't worry about your voice. Don't worry about what you look like. I mean, have you seen some of the videos out there by some people? Woo, Lordy.
yeah, I have done that. Like last time I looked at the clock was 4:10 this morning, and I don't care what I did, I could just not sleep. And I had even tried that about 1 o'clock. Just put, so your mind just kind of black. And yeah, no, but there's some really crazy videos out there.
Yeah.
And I just like wonder, why did you think this was a good idea? But otherwise, it's
some people just do it for the likes. Just do it for the likes to get the views.
I mean, there's not a subject on anything you can't find over on social media anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something about everything.
It's a little nuts.
You don't have to go all out. You don't have to show every single part of your life. But I mean, don't be afraid to share your journey because your voice does matter.
Well, when I'm on, I think I told you last week, I have myself blurred and everybody had a fit because they want to know where the birds were. So, yep, that's what it is. I don't blur it now. And the toddler has learned to, as everybody well knows, he gets off his cage onto the floor and he walks around the house. Well, I had a house full of kids last week. And I say kids, but they're young adults. I mean, they're 30 and up. And,
they're still kids, right?
Yeah, well, they'll always be kids. And one of them is actually 42. The other one's 40. So, and they're my kids. I helped raise them. And their moms were like some of my best friends. And the kids, I just know, I just know them. They're my kids. And so they were here and he kept following them. And I didn't want to get up and close with him. I'm not sneezing or coughing, which is another weird thing with this. It's just knocking me on my butt.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though, for probably middle of it, like 2 or 3 days, me and the boys both, it's like it went through phases, this weird thing, whatever it is. It started off just feeling like sinus, cold infection, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Then we were having actual sneezing fits, like all the time sneezing. And then it went from there to the deep congestion. And high fevers for all of us all the way through. Mostly the boys, their fevers were the worst.
I had fever. That was like, I was actually shocked. And I was like, wow, why do I have a fever? And then, like I said, my head was compressed and It's crazy. So I've been wearing a mask when I've like done the birds' food, and I really haven't let them out. Well, the other morning, the prisoner of Alcatraz decided that he wanted to eat early, so I put his food in there, and I just got back in bed. I fed Mulan and got back in bed. Well, he was done in about 20 minutes, and then he started doing his trick of taking his metal bowl out, putting it in his water dish, banging the floor, banging the walls, and I'm like, seriously, dude, I need to go to sleep. Excuse me. And this
Yeah.
was they had got me up at 7. So if one gets me up, they all see me. So yesterday, he did kind of the same, and I said, "Oh no, Mom's staying in bed, and you need to deal with it." So I put him on his perch, which is right next to me right now. And I've had him a year and a half now, and he's a chicken shit. He's the biggest chicken shit in the world, right? So you set him on the perch. There's food cup there, there's water, and then I give him toys. So I'm sitting there in bed, and he got really quiet. I didn't hear him moving. I didn't hear him.
Uh-oh. You know what quiet means.
He's hanging upside down on his perch. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then he grabbed the lower limb and toggled down to that. And I posted a video. I actually wound up posting 3 because he completed the journey. He went down under the stand. I have it sitting on an old card, like a folding table, TV trays they used to have. And he wound up sliding down that underneath it. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? And he just hit the floor. He just jumped right to the floor, and he doesn't fly. And the vet still says it's because he's too fat. But let me tell you, he knows he can do this now. He's never done it in a year and a half. And this is how comfortable he's in the house. Well, I was sleeping on the floor right by him. He walked right by her. He didn't care.
Yeah.
And then he scooted under the bed. So it's like, oh my God. I just can't. Like, you guys all need to stop. And so I can't take that and put it in the other room. I've got to keep an eye on him. So the kids came up, and I was in the front room. And, you saw the table. I think you saw it probably on social media. And I heard them come in, but I wasn't going to get up because I felt like crap. So I turn around, and I hear the boys came in first. It was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I'm like, you saw pictures of it, like, oh yeah, but it's big. It's a table. And I'm like, yeah, duh. And the boys are just in there, and they're like gooing and gagging over it. They saw it because I had sent pictures to the kids. And then the girls come in behind them from the door, and I've got this big, huge bathroom. Anybody that's been here, it's like as big as a bathroom. And they're standing in there, and you can hear them talking. And the girls are like, I hear them, what's going on? What's going on? And they walk in, they're like, oh my God. So I had children that wanted to try to sneak my table out. And I said, where are you going with that? Well, can't we have it?
No.
Your daughter, can I have it? No, you wouldn't take other stuff. So why are you going to take this? But this is really cool. And I'm like, yeah, no, put it back. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Between that and adult kids calling me from where they are in the States. Mom, can I talk to you? Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
So it's been those couple of weeks, and I ain't got nothing else to do. So,
yeah.
But did get into a really interesting conversation, and we're going to do that in a minute after you wrap up whatever you got going on with you.
I don't even know anymore. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, the wolf's daughter, both her daughters are very close to me. They're my kids. And the youngest one came up in this group. Like after they left, the next group came in. And we pretty much just sat around with music on and talked. We watched one movie in 3 days. And it was just to chill. No big deal. And we talked. And one of the topics, and I don't even remember why we got onto this topic, but she looked at me and she says, do you think there's a heaven? And I'm thinking to myself, well, this could be a loaded question. Like, why is she asking me? She goes, like, really? Like, what do you think heaven is? So I'm going to ask you, what is your definition of heaven? And then I'll give you my definition.
I don't think it's the place, the city, the pearly gates in the city where, the people are all living in the clouds. I don't think that's what it is. But I do believe it is like a place where all of the spirits go back to where the source is. Whatever you want to call source, that's up to you. But the source of all life goes back to that place. And it's like you go there and what's the word I'm looking for? There's a debriefing, because you come into this life with a purpose, a reason. You want to experience something. You want to learn something. You want to, see how far you can grow, and so that your soul continuously evolves. And so there's a debriefing of, did you do what you went there to accomplish? Did you have that experience? Did you have that growth? And then there's, the detox from earth life.
Okay.
And then you decide what you do next, whether you hang out there for a long, long, long time, or you come back and have a whole nother new experience.
Okay.
But it's that place.
Yeah. No, I get that. Hi, everybody, too, by the way. I didn't really get into that. Vic's here. Christy Wilkinson's here. Cookie's here. Cindy Pinkham's here. Jess Oz is here. And Rashid. Hey, Rashid, how are you? Kay, I think I said you already, but hey, and welcome, Gavin.
Oh, and before I forget, I've started going back live again in the mornings around 8:15, 8:30 in the morning. I'm doing card pulls.
Slacker. Slacker. Make me feel worse. God.
I'm just doing card pulls in the mornings around 8:15 Central Time on TikTok only.
Whatever.
Well, TikTok, they have so much more engagement on TikTok when you're doing live than you get anywhere else.
Whatever. I love it. Whatever.
I'll send you a screenshot of this morning's activity. You'll see.
Okay, so I agree with what you've said about what you think heaven is. I had
the place, the source.
More. I added a little more to it. Oh my God, you kids need to be quiet. And I said to her, heaven is a human word that society has placed on afterlife after we die from our bodies, okay? And we're energy, so we can't kill energy. You can't stop energy, so the energy leaves and it goes out, whether it's in 2 other dimensions, whether it's the galaxy, hitches a ride through a black hole. I don't know. Okay.
Right.
Well,
but it's out there.
I tried to get there, but no. Okay. So one of the things she says, well, what do you think? How do you think we get here? And I said, well, and actually, I think if I recall, I don't remember for sure, but I think I recall telling her, and we got into this, is because octopus have 9 brains.
Holy crap.
They have the brain in their head, and each of their tentacles also has a full working brain.
Oh my gosh. And talk about sensory overload.
Well,
I can't even wrap my own brain around that one.
It's pretty amazing.
Can you imagine trying to get all of them to shut up at night?
They all do their own thing. They work individually. That's what's so cool for survival.
Right.
I mean, that'd be like yelling at 8 siblings in my mind, or a mom with 7 or 8 other kids. You know?
No.
Yeah, but one of the even more curious things is their DNA doesn't match any creature other than them on Earth. Like, you look at humans and go all the way back. If you listen and you agree with Darwin, we've evolved into what we are now. But octopus are so evolved, and they've always been octopus. There's no other DNA that matches it. So
they come from somewhere.
Yeah, so Brienne was like, well, how did they get here? I said, funny you should ask. I said, watched a documentary the other day, and this is one of the things they were trying to address, this professor and two of his students. So they hooked up a weather balloon attached to things that they could collect from the atmosphere, and they sent it up as high as it would go before it would burn out and come back, like the balloon itself would pop, and it came down. And what it collected was life in the area above our breathing space. It was life, cells, living cells that match nothing here on Earth. So the thought process is, okay, so how did we get here? And Brianna and I were talking about, I said, I do believe there's a higher source. Humans, again, label God, and that's in every culture. They have deities, they have, whatever, right? But something gave them that thought process, because how did they build the pyramids? Now they're finding archaeological finds that are even deeper in the ground, that, wow, there's human activity here, and they were doing things beyond what even we were doing later, like during the 1800s, 1900s, right? And they're more advanced. They did artwork. They knew how to metalsmith. They knew how to make jewelry out of gold, silver. They knew how to add lead and different things to different components. They used gemstones, and it's like, okay, so where did that come from? So then she says, so if we just die and our energy leaves us, like, where do we go? What are we doing? Are we out in energy? I said, well, I tried to get there, but I got shoved back. And I said I could see everything. And I said, not going down a hallway of light, nothing like that happened. But I said, I believe we see things as humans as we need to see it. So it's presented to us like this is what it is. So we see human form, we see our pets, we see whatever, and then we're energy. And she says, well, then what do you do as energy? I said, well, just like you said, you review your life. You went there for purpose. Did you fulfill that purpose? And I said, and I believe we can choose to come back into the human form again if we choose to be.
If you want to be human.
She looked at me and
You
she
can
said,
be whatever you want.
yeah. And she looked at me and she says, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to sign up to come back to do this over. Right?
Oh, famous last words, right?
Yeah, right. And I just thought, yeah. But I said, then with the paranormal, some of the stuff I look, hi, Jerry, how are you? Hi, Jackie, how are you? Hi, Chloe, how are you? I said I was watching a very well-respected team doing a paranormal investigation. They went in and started talking because there was a woman that had stayed in this particular location. It was a hotel, and she was very prominent. She was actually from another country. She was like a princess in that life. So they started talking to her with a recorder, and they said, hello, so-and-so. And someone answered back, and you didn't even need the recorder to hear it. And they said, hello, who is that? And they said, well, who are you? And she was like, well, I'm, whatever. And they go, wow. They go, where are you? I hear you clear as a bell, but where are you? And I'm like, wow, other dimensions, parallel worlds? I'm not sure quite how that works. Does that continue? Like, because if people die, like I was born in 61, this is 2024. I mean, after I die and my energy's gone, do I go back to being a baby? You know what I mean? It's like,
I don't think you go back to being a baby. You go back to just being your own energy.
Okay, so what were they experiencing then? Because they were going back and forth and having a
it's hard to say truly because we aren't on that other side at the moment. But there's a lot of people that say that all of our lifetimes exist at the same time.
Yeah.
So let's just say someone from you in the 1800s can exist at the same time as you're existing right now.
That's like so much for your brain to comprehend.
Yeah, your brain, it's a crazy concept. But energy, think about energy. And it's easy to say, is like, look at the radio waves.
Mm-hmm.
There's not just a track of one radio wave that can only go one place at one time. Those radio waves spread out. So, and they can go everywhere at once. That's how we're talking to everyone right now live. You're in Michigan, I'm in Tennessee.
Quit.
So our energy can go in many multiple directions at the same time. So can we be living more than one life in this moment where we are right now? I think I don't see why it's not possible.
Well,
because we are energy.
I believe that anything's possible. People that say, oh, this is impossible, we just haven't learned how yet or why.
Well, our human brains hasn't figured it out, but I believe our souls know. But our human form in this life right here, right now, can't grasp that concept.
Well, back in about 2014, 2015, Taylor had taken me to the...
Chloe's going to come back and mess with people that disrespected her in this life. I would follow people around that were disbelievers and just say to them all the time, I told you so. I told you so.
Yeah, I've got a pact. Well, I had a pact like that with the wolf, and I told her, I said, oh, you're not going to outlive me. And apparently, I do. I am. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot. And they do haunt us, but in a funny way. But no, going back to 2014, 2015, Taylor drove me, and I could drive at that time, but I had to go. I don't know what we were doing. And I said, I got to run into the store. And she was like, okay, I'm not going in, because basically it's a small town, so she doesn't want to run into anybody that she knows from high school. So I said, yeah, I'll be out in a minute. I just had to go in and get cat food or dog food or something. So I got into the store, and I don't know, probably about 100 yards into the store, and I dropped like a sack of potatoes on the floor, like just out. And when I woke up or came back to my head, whatever, everybody's looking at me like, over me, like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? We'll call 911. I go, what? Like I didn't even realize I fell, right? So I got up and assured everybody I was good. I still don't know why. Maybe I hadn't eaten that day. I don't know, but I just dropped. So I was walking back to the department I was going to go to, and I happened to look up because I felt like I had to look up like this way. I kept hearing it, like saying, look to your left. When I did, I saw myself over there in the same exact place, wearing different clothes, but myself looked at me on this side, and we were like, and we both said at the same time, like, what the,
Yeah.
And we stood there looking, and I was like, wow, that I must have hit my head hard.
That brings up another memory. I just did a video. I think it was one day this week. It's on TikTok. I do most of my content on TikTok. But when I was in my 20s, one night, sometime in the night, I sat up in bed, physically sat up in bed, and I was having a conversation with this woman's spirit. We had a really long, or it felt like a very long conversation. Even that night or the next morning, I could not tell you what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
It was about the sense that I felt after talking to this woman that, it's like at the end of the conversation, we just were like parted ways, and we're like, okay, good to see you. She left, and I laid back down and went to sleep. Well, it was within a few days. I was talking to my father-in-law, who was a psychic, and he was amazing at what he did. He was so tuned in, and telling him about it. And I said, I don't know who that lady was. He looked at me. He said, you silly thing. You were talking to yourself. That was your own spirit.
Coming back. Yep. To coming
That was
in.
my own spirit coming to reassure me that everything was going to be okay. Because let me tell you, that marriage was very abusive, physically, mentally, verbally abusive. And I was in a bad place, feeling
Right.
very stuck there. So that was my own spirit saying, you're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. But I
It,
had no idea. And that's
it's
why I can't,
weird.
probably why I can't remember what was said was because I wasn't supposed to know, just the feeling of it's going to be okay.
It's, I also find it interesting that a lot of people that have the ability to read, or we call it reading, but to connect with spirit, and we all do it differently. No one's exactly the same. But I always find it interesting because I have clients who'll say, well, where are they? And it's like, they're in the spirit lands, their energy. And it's not because we can't see them. It's because they want us to see them in a certain way to convey a message to whoever is sitting in front of us, or whoever we're doing it with. And sometimes it's the obligation, I guess.
Yes, Chloe, I do believe that.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's just overwhelming responsibility, I guess would be a way. You have to be very open to doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot. But I also think it's a reason we connect more with reading, writing, and art than we do math and science and that kind of stuff.
Except when it comes to the angel numbers that we see every day, all day long. All day
Okay,
long.
what Jackie said here, I believe that, yes, we are energy. When I go, I think about visiting back to the dinosaur days. Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to go back that far, but yeah, Jackie, that'd be kind of cool. Where would you want to go back to? If you were able to go back into any time period, where would you want to go?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I want to go back to all of them. I really would. I would want to be a fly on the wall in a lot of different lifetimes just to see, first of all, see how many lies have been told to us. Because we have not been told the truth. We have not been taught the truth. Like someone on TikTok, there's a few videos. They are saying, they're bringing up the question of, why do we never find dinosaur bones in the cities?
Mm-hmm. But they just did actually this week, believe it or not. They did. They found it. They found, oh God, what the heck were they?
Yeah, but wouldn't they find a whole lot more with all the excavation, all the digging that goes, particularly in cities?
They found it was here in the U.S. And actually, I think it was near you. Excuse me, because I thought, I should send this over to Holly. She could dig it in her backyard. And
I will go digging.
Yeah,
I'm going to dig.
They were putting up a new building, I think, and they had to excavate it deeper in the ground to get rid of the old stuff. And they found, and it was like over 20, some kind of dinosaur, but it's a new find because they've never seen this particular one. Its nose was longer. It was an incredible find. And look at how they're finding them over in Siberia and the Ukraine in the winters and stuff. They found bears and bear cubs that were dead, but they were preserved because it was so cold.
Yeah.
And mammoth, woolly mammoths have been being found here in the United States.
Oh yeah, there's been some in Tennessee.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy.
Because, well, you got to look at where we are now on the globe is not where we've always been, because you've got the poles shifting and the plates moving and all that.
Right.
So,
which is a cycle. That's an Earth cycle. Yes, humans have added to it, so it's kind of like rapidly building up quicker, but it's still a cycle that if you go back through the Earth, it has done this and cycled through this. Just wanted to say that. Here you go. Yeah, and that's like 100% spirit talk to you in your first language. Yeah, it's like when the spirits come, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well. When they come in, you just kind of understand them. It
You,
doesn't
yeah,
matter
it's like
how
just an understanding, because
yeah,
when the grandmothers come in, they don't speak English to me. They speak whatever their native tongue is, but
so
I know what they're saying. I understand them fully.
well, I can tell you two, no, actually three for sure things that I've actually been told by people who do the past life regressions over the years. And they all came up with the same three, which was really interesting to me. And I know I had one of them sort of as a guide with me in the middle 2000s, like 2007, 8, something like that. I had a samurai. Okay. The samurai was with me. And I can still, to this day, explain the village and it's a samurai's village. I've never been to Japan. But I've always had an affinity for them. Like
And there's a reason for that, because that's where one of your, and you probably had an amazing experience in that particular life, and that's why in this life form you're still drawn to it.
Well, I actually posted yesterday. I put a painting I had done, and again, this was around 2008, 2007, and I had never painted like this, and it's called Ancient Wisdoms, and that's what it is. It's about a Japanese boy, and then there's all these like people, ancestor line, but it's like next to him. I've never done a piece like that, never done a piece like that since, and that was the samurai that brought it through. Now I've also got, and you're gonna laugh at this one. Well, I definitely know I was a scumbag Nazi, no doubt in my mind. Look, she's cracking up. Because there's things I know that I wouldn't know it at all. And I've seen like some things where there'll be a documentary and and I'm like, no, that's not what happened. And I'm like, holy crap, I just know it. And I can't explain it. But in the past life regressions, I've been told that I was a Nazi SS officer. Okay. And then, so the samurai was good, and the native life was good. The German Nazi thing wasn't so good. So then the other one, and all three of these people told me the same thing, and they don't know each other, and I've never really talked about it out publicly, told me that I was involved with the nut job that killed the Tsar, Alexandria, Rasputin. They said you were either Rasputin himself or you were like one of his really close little minions, right? And I remember, and I asked this question to all three of them because I was like, I don't want to be that guy. I mean, that's horrid. And one of them made a joke, and it actually made sense. Like, well, why do you think you came back in this life as you are? And I was like, what do you mean? And they go, well, you're gay. You treat people.
You are? What?
Yeah. And you treat people very nicely, and you stand up for abused women, abused kids, sexually assaulted people. And I've always done that in my life. They said, why do you think you're doing that? And I looked at them and they go, you're here to atone for it. And I like, that kind of makes sense. It's kind of a sick kind of makes sense, but I can't say no. And it's really weird too, because I know a lot about that place and time and history. And like, how would I know that? I'm not
right.
There's just too much that's there. And so that kind of always made me curious as well, because it's like, okay. And genetically, I believe our genes carry from our ancestors. I'm 100% believe that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just weird. So who were you in a past life?
I've been regressed a whole bunch of times. One particular life, I was a native, and my fiance, my to-be, was killed in a hunting accident. And so I never married or anything after that, but I was the one, I made life quilts. So when a new baby was born, then I would start a quilt for that baby. And throughout their life, I would sew into the all the different things, parts of them. And then on their day of their wedding, I would gift them their quilt so they could carry it on and finish it.
You're a storyteller, and you're still a storyteller.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do believe that we pull from our past lives for what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent. And it's just, it's really curious though. And so I actually, one of my closest friends, we went through high school together. Her mom and dad were mom and dad, and I've known her forever. She was in my wedding. I mean, it was a lot of stuff, and I know all her kids and stuff. And she'll make the comment like, how do you know that? Like, how do you know that? And one of them, one of her youngest child, who's probably about 31 now, genius. I mean, this kid has a doctorate. She was finished with college by the time she was 18, went into the middle. I mean, just phenomenal. But she doesn't believe in afterlife. She believes when you die, you're just dead. Until this past year. She's had her father show up as a buck, like in dream states, because he knew she'd recognize that because she used to go hunting with him. And just weird places, like she'll be driving and she'll look up and thinking of him at the same time, and she'll look up and there's a buck on a advertisement like a Cabela's or something on a signboard, or she'll pull up behind a truck and there's a buck sticker on the back of it. And she lives in New Hampshire, so it's not like you're gonna see hunt. That's like more fishing in that area. And it kind of blows her mind. Well, I did that painting for her mom for Christmas of the Guardian, and it was from him. She didn't say much about it, so I wasn't sure if she liked, but it's hit her so viscerally, like really deep. She's got it hanging. And then her daughter, who lives in New Hampshire, called her and says, Mom, I need to talk to you. And she says, why? She goes, did you hang that painting that Bear gave you? She says, yeah. She goes, did you hang it up at the stair, like the top of the stairs, so you could see it when you walk by when you're upstairs, but you could see it down the stairwell? Because they have, you remember the grand staircase?
A big landing there.
Yeah, Titanic movie where everybody walks. It's not quite as grand as that, but it's as big as that, right? And she says, yeah. She goes, did you hang it there? And she goes, yeah, actually I did. She goes, Mom, I had a dream last night, and Dad came in and he was pointing at the picture and he was leaning on the wall. And then there was more stuff that she wasn't aware of, but she gave that message to her mother. Her mother gave that message to me. And I had someone in my life that needed to hear that message, that knew him, but took all that to get the message to him. And it's kind of crazy. And she's like questioning it now. She's like, well, I don't believe that, there's anything. I just think we're dead. And her mom is Catholic. We're all recovering Catholics, but you know what I'm talking about, that they were raised with that and raised with faith. No, not this kid. Now she's thinking about it. Remember the 3 paintings that I told you? I did those little 5x7s, and hers was the middle piece.
Yeah.
Got the book on it, right? And she said, her mom told me, she says she took that and she went into the front room, got her phone out, put her little speakers on, and played music, just sitting there looking at this part of her part of the painting. And she's questioning it now. She's like, okay, I don't know how this happened or how I'm seeing this stuff. Am I like delusional? But she's pondering. So for me, that's a good thing, because you don't have to believe in God, creator God. It doesn't matter how you believe in whatever you believe, but to believe that we just die, I can't.
And that's the end of it.
No.
In the great expanse of time, our life is a speck, not even the size of a grain of sand. It's a speck that you can't even see. So no, I don't believe that.
What's this here? I can't read. I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, we're not doing readings right now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't have my glasses on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really kind of cool. And if I look at just which I've had a lot of time over the past 5 years to do, is sit and kind of review what I've been or done in my life. And we've all done shitty things in our life. You know, we're not angels. I mean, we're human. You know, I wish I could take back some of the stuff I did when I was younger, because it was kind of stupid, like stuck on.
But all those things brought you right here where you are right now, and who you are right here, right now.
Right.
Without those experiences, you would not be who you are.
Right. And it's like you do that life review, and I look at the things that have always been a constant in my life. And the constant is, like you, I used to talk to invisible people when I was like 4, and everybody just thought I was talking to invisible people. I can to this day, I still hear animals. They talk to me. They're not afraid of me. They'll come right up to me. Outside, inside, doesn't matter. And I'm thinking back on all this stuff, and I've always been involved with art since I was 4. My father actually said to me when I was in high school, couldn't you pick a cheaper hobby? Because I was doing photography and art, but I was doing different art, like the stained glass, like you did, the murals on buildings, you know, just doing really different stuff. And my dad would just look at me, and he's like, God, you know, he goes, I go, you want me to stop? He goes, well, no, but it would be nice sometimes if you could pick a cheaper hobby. But I've done the same things all my life, and nothing has changed. And anytime I try to push it away, they grab me
right back, right,
and they clear everything, which you don't want them to do, and they just drop you on there, and you start again.
Yep.
I don't know. It's really kind of crazy for sure. Well, I'm actually going to ask that we cut this a little short today.
That's fine.
I feel like poop, and my head's like heating up, and I actually feel myself warming up again, which means fever's back again.
Yeah, you need to go have some rest, drink plenty of fluids. You know the drill.
Yeah, it's time for me to go back and have a nap. So,
but you can catch me on TikTok live in the mornings on TikTok, and stay tuned, because that new book will be coming, I don't know, in the next couple of weeks anyway. If I have anything to say about it, it'll be ready next week. But it's a long book. There's still a lot to go. More pages
like
to write.
I said when I posted, I think yesterday or the day before, there's 2 of you that I know, and you're making me feel like slacker, and I'm feeling a little bad because
you got to do you and not worry about it. You shouldn't feel bad whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like you getting up and painting 2 paintings in a day, and mine, because I use oils. I
used to do more than that when all I did was paint.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would have a little chain of them going. Because you know me, I can't sit still. I got to be doing something.
I don't typically do acrylics. I did, and
see, I can't do oils because I don't have the patience to let it dry. I will have 15 paintings going, waiting on them to dry. So I do acrylic because it dries so quick. I can get it done all in one go.
I do it on my pouches that people, ask me for. I'll do it on that. It's used on my spirit walkers after they're in the kiln. But I'm not really a big fan of it. But I was like, well, do I want to do oils on a table? No, because that means I'll have to get a piece of glass to go over it. It's like, no. So yeah, right. You two, like, I'm like, okay, I hear you. And I've got, spirit telling me, and I've got this really cool painting that I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm like, okay, so acrylic, and because I'm thinking I need to get some more oil paint. And they're like, oh no, you're going to do this oil. And I'm like, well, then you're going to have to wait until I get the 2 tubes that I need, because I'm out of the white, which it goes quick because you're thinning.
White and black, I go through so quickly.
Mine is white and yellow, like medium yellow. And then, because I can make it darker or lighter. So I got to order more of that. And then once I get it, I'll be there. But they're like, oh no. And I'm like, well, that board that my daughter said, no, you cannot.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix her little butt. The back of it is raw.
There you go.
So I'm going to paint the back of it. But what I'm going to paint, and I can say this here because she's not going to watch, she doesn't watch these. I'm going to paint her 2 cats.
Oh, she'll love it and give it back to her.
Mhm.
Here's your joy back.
Oh, yeah, here, by the way, since you like joy so much, so I'm going to do that in acrylic. But then this other painting I've got, I was like, I don't even have like boards. I'm out of boards. And I'm actually shocked because my big, huge 36 by 36 cubes, like when I got them, I want to say they were like 89, 90 bucks each. They're like 300 bucks a panel now. I'm like, are you crazy? I'm not
Yeah,
paying.
it's insane what things have gone up to.
I'm just
Jackie
shocked.
Jackie is asking if we ever written any books about spiritually paranormal.
Yeah,
Well, I have
you do.
all my books have a spiritual theme to them. Most of them are children's books, but I did do Healing with the Grandmothers, and these are very personal, particular visions I've had, healing visions over the years with three grandmothers that are in the spirit world. So there's that. And I didn't add anything extra to those. I did not like say what was going on during each time. I just gave you the specific vision itself because I thought somebody will read one of these at least and get something out of it. And if I put my own twist on what was happening to me in my life during that time, it would take from it. So I gave only the visions, the healing ceremonies themselves in that book, Healing with the Grandmothers.
Well, and the other big thing is for me anyway, and I know you're kind of the same way, because we're very spiritual people and how we approach things. And because of like, I do paranormal stuff and I work with people that are literally in the paranormal field. But a lot of and I'll say this lightly because I got to be kind of careful with it. A lot of the big money, top name mediums out there, I mean, they're helping people. That's great. That's good. But they're also charging $500 for 15
Or more.
minutes.
Oh my gosh, some of them cost over $1,000 just to get a reading. It's
And that's like a
insane.
15-minute reading. So to me, that's not what I'm here to do. And I don't believe that's what Holly is here to do. It's we're spiritually, but we're connected to the unknown. And I
Yeah.
think that's what the paranormal actually is. And I think a lot of my friends, including like Lizzie, Cindy Kaza, who else do we know? Oh, Andrew D, and yourself and Jane Wilcox. We're all spiritual people and we're supposed to help people heal. We're
Right.
supposed to help people understand there's more than here. So that's how we get it across because it's paranormal, some
Yeah.
of it, and it's like outside the box of the
Well,
way
everything
people.
that comes to us and the things that I write, I have to spiritually connect with it first before I can get excited about it and write the story and illustrate it and have it going. And most of my stuff is geared toward children because back in our day, we didn't have books like
No.
that whatsoever. Nothing that aligned us with our own spirit and that went deeper than, red cat, blue cat, one cat, two
Redfish,
cat.
redfish, bluefish, goldfish. See who I
Exactly.
am. I don't like
Exactly.
eggs and ham.
So
Yeah.
hopefully, so I'm concentrating on creating a whole new genre of books for our younger ones so that they can be spiritually connected.
Well, and I know some of your paintings that you've done are the paintings I do that they take a little longer because they are oils, but that's not why they take longer. They take longer because
You're
if I
painting
try
from
to
spirit.
fight, yeah, and if I try to fight the images and fight them coming in to help me, and it's the same thing with my little spirit walkers that I make. I can get on there and say, oh, I'm going to do a grizzly bear, and it turns out to be a shark. I mean, it's like, yeah, no, you have
Well,
to.
it's this concept that people would ask me all the time, how did I do that on my paintings? And I'd say, I don't know. I just held the brush.
Yeah, I
I
do them
just
by
held the
palette.
brush.
I do them by palette knife, and like the table that I did, that was me. That was
Right.
all me, and
Yeah.
I knew that. And the cats, when I do them for Tay, I know that's going to be me. But when they come in, I don't even know what that one that I said I gave to my friend whose husband had passed from ALS. was the Guardian. I've never painted one like that before. It was really odd, but it was layers and layers and layers. And I actually had to use 3 metallic oil colors, which I've never used before.
And it came out great.
Well, again, I finish them. They use me to finish them, and I've got no attachment to them. The only one I will tell you is the last one I did with Santori. I've had 2 people ask if they could buy it, and I said no. And they said, really? I said no. And they said, why? I said, I don't know why, but he makes me come out in the front room and stare at him. And I'm like, I'm in meditation immediately. I said, I don't know if I'll be able to get rid of him, but he's like.
At some point, probably, but not for now.
Yeah. And it's like he can't go anywhere. Well, if you change your mind, I go, yeah. But for whatever reason, he's got a bigger message. And I need to remember that so I can continue the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
All right. Go get hydrated and go get some rest.
Everybody. Okay. See you next week. Bye, guys.